This is way less headaches over here, and this is way more headaches over here. John Fedro with Mobile Home Investing. This video is to help give you some ease and experience, kind of fast forward your experience, something that it took me years to realize in this business, which seems so simple now. Is that, and so this video is to make you stress less. And so here's what I mean. When you're talking to mobile home sellers or real estate sellers in general, but in this video, we're talking mobile home sellers, you are not going to earnestly be able to help. You are not the right buyer for 70% or more of the people that reach out to you. You reach out to them for the most part. Depends like who you're reaching out to, what kind of list that you're reaching out to. But for the most part, you don't have to stress yourself out. Like, if you're trying to, I'll compare this to maybe dating. Like if you're trying to date somebody and they are not into you, then you don't have as much of a shot with them. But if they do, or they like you, or they like the way you look, or like they're looking for a relationship, it's going to be easier to date that person. So don't know if that made any sense, but let's go ahead and talk about what's behind me right now. We have these three sort of spectrums or graphs. Right here is when you call up a seller, are they talking more about the home? You first call a seller or they're calling you. When they talk to you, are they telling you about the home and how they just upgraded the paint, or how they just painted, how they just upgraded the deck, how they just upgraded all the appliances, how they just did this, how they put in a bunch of money to the home? I mean, are they talking about that? Or are they talking more about their personal issues, why they need to sell, why they need to get out of here, how soon they need to leave, the problem with their ex-husband that is causing them to need to sell? So is they talking more initially about their problems and personal issues, or are they just trying to really upsell you the home, like sell you and increase the value of it? This next one here is lots of resistance. We'll get into what that means in just a second, and an easier deal. There's fewer moving pieces. There's fewer obstacles between you and getting the deal done. And here there's more obstacles. And then over here, there's little profit, and then there's a large amount of profit. So if you're talking to a seller, the first thing you're going to recognize is this right here. Are they talking more about their personal issues? So I mean, within like 10 seconds, you can know how motivated, within a spectrum or within a bit, are they talking more about their personal issues or just trying to upsell you on the home? The second thing you're going to realize is the profit. If you know that area, if you're somewhat experienced, if you're new, then this won't be as quick. You'll probably know this one second. But if you do know the prices locally, you'll be able to tell, okay, this home is over here. It looks like this. It's this age. I know I can sell it for this price. And how much are they asking? Is this going to be a big profit, a little profit? And then once you do all the due diligence, you're asking more and more questions to the seller about the park, about if it has to be moved, about the land, about the mortgage, about all the other factors of the mobile home in the deal that I can't think about at the moment. That will determine is if there's a lot of resistance or is it easier. And so what you have here is this sort of side right here. We want the deals to be easier, the path of least resistance. We want to make a large profit. We want people to talk more about their personal issues instead of upselling us on the home. I mean, if you're selling something and you keep, you want to make as much as you can, you're going to upsell it. And granted, the people over here that try to upsell their home, they're great people. They should get everything they want for their home, but that's probably not going to be somebody that we help. So we are looking to help folks kind of over here. This is really where we want to be, definitely. And where we don't want to be or spending a lot of our time is over here. You're trying to convince people to work with you that don't necessarily need to work with you. A lot of people in this world are never going to need the help of an investor. Whether you're like people that sell gold bar, like sell your gold fast, or we buy junk cars, or we buy mobile homes, or we buy houses. Like most humans that go through life are not going to be in such dire need to sell that they're going to have to call an investor. But some do. Some absolutely do. And it's important to know that we want to focus on the green. We don't want to be in the red. And the stuff in the middle is okay. If people can't sell, then over time, their motivation will shift more and more on this side. It doesn't mean that the profit will change. It doesn't mean that the factors of the deal will change. But here's where we want to be. And notice that all of this, I'll put it in black or blue maybe. is stuff that we don't really want to concern ourselves with as much. Like what we're really listening for and the deals we want to do are right here. So what that looks like a little bit, because you might be asking, like, what is this over here? Um, so easier deals. Let's talk about that. Lots of resistance versus little to no resistance. What does little to no resistance look like? Well, the seller's asking a reasonable or low or no price to the home. So the seller's already asking a reasonable price. It's a friendly park. It's in a popular location. Pretty simple. Like we could make checks on all these. This is good stuff. Good school district, clean park, minimal fix to the home, clean title, clean park. Did I mention that before? Oh, clean, well, that's twice. Needs to sell quickly. The seller needs to sell quickly. It's probably not listed online yet. And if it must be moved, then the seller has, we can have 90 days before we move it or before we have to get it moved off the land. That's a long time. That's good. If they need it moved like next week, that's not good. And then no additions to the home if you're going to have it moved. That makes it easy. And they have the clean title and it's in an area where there's not a bunch of trees built up, so it's going to be like impossible to move. So just setting yourself up for the path of least resistance doing this. And then what's over here? Well, it's the exact opposite. It's, high price. It's not a park that's not friendly, that has, they don't allow pets. They want a 700 plus credit score, bad school district, dirty park, low pride of ownership, a lot of repairs. That's all over here. I mean, I didn't make one for this side, but it's basically the opposite of this is the stuff that we kind of don't want. And which is not bad. I hope that all these folks sell and they will eventually do something. These sellers will eventually sell, but it's just important to know who do you have the most likelihood of helping and who do we want to help, and we want to spend our time down here. I really hope that helped and made sense. And that's just one more thing for you to take into your kind of mental arsenal. And so when you're talking to sellers, you can realize, it wasn't you. If you didn't make the deal, if you didn't, you're not going to be a silver tongued negotiator and try to manipulate these people into doing like the deals that these folks will do. And so you want to stay around here. Typically, this is less headaches over here, and this is way more headaches over here. So we want to try to stay in the green. I really hope that made sense. Any comments, any questions, any additions, please comment them below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.